This is Takayama, one of our favorite towns in Japan. We're about an hour northwest of Osaka, and the town looks a lot like parts of Kyoto and is often referred to as Little Kyoto. But what you don't have here is the crush of the crowds, and that makes for a much more pleasant experience. You can easily explore the Sanmachi Historic District, the Hida Folk Village, museums, and much more. There are numerous quality Airbnbs, such as where we've stayed, along with traditional Ryokan. So come check out Takayama.
Now we're here at the Miagawa Morning Market. It takes place every morning from about 7 a.m. to noon in Takayama. It's along the Miyagawa River over here. Along the street here, it's closed off to just pedestrians, is all it is. You'll find about 30 to 40 different stalls and shops along the way. Everything from handicrafts, carvings, to grocery items, to all kinds of unique things. So let's go check it out. We're presently in the Hida Folk Village outside Takayama. Now what you'll find here is an outdoor museum featuring over 30 homes and buildings that have been reconstructed after having been relocated from various places in the region. Some of these buildings date back over 300 years old. It's really a wonderful way to come and experience and see how things really were 200, 300 years ago. It's a unique place that you definitely ought to visit.
Here you can learn how the villagers harvested timber from the mountains, transporting to their homes, and see how they collected silk from silkworms they kept in the upper floors of their houses. There are even live demonstrations of folk crafts through the year, and this is a very authentic outdoor museum with few Western tourists about, therefore it's seldom ever crowded.
Now folks, if you're visiting Takayama, which we highly recommend you do, when you're there, come up about 15 minutes further north to Hida Takayama. It's a smaller village. It's really well known for the canal district. There are over 1,000 carp floating in these canals, which we'll see in a moment. But we're standing at the central plaza, surrounded by all kinds of beautiful architecture from the Edo period. So definitely make a stop if you can.
The Sakurayama Nikkokan Museum is a beautiful display of models of the various shrines and temples you'll find in Nikko. If you're not familiar with Nikko, it's a World Heritage historic location north of Tokyo, and it's where the Ieyasu Tokugawa, the first shogun, is enshrined. Now this display showcases the buildings in miniature in great detail. It took artisans over 15 years to create these things back in the 1920s, and they're stunning. If you have an appreciation for fine woodwork or models, you'll definitely enjoy this. Plus, it is rarely crowded and, of course, air-conditioned. Admission to both this museum and the float museum next door are on the same ticket. Next door, you'll find the Takayama Matsuri Yatai Kaikan Museum. Now, don't worry about trying to pronounce it, it's a mouthful. But this is where you'll find on display several of the festival floats that are brought out twice a year in Takayama for their Takayama Matsuri, or festival, held in April and October. You've likely seen images of these festivals and floats, and this is your chance to see them up close without the crowds. One note, make sure you check the dates of the festivals because literally hundreds of thousands of people descend on the town during the festival, and you better book your room well in advance if you're coming during that time.
While here, please click the like and subscribe buttons. This lets us know we're doing something right, and it encourages us to make more videos like this, which in turn helps you in your travel plans. Just a block or so south are two house museums. The Kusakabe House and the Yoshijima House were built in the mid-1800s. Both are similar in style, featuring high-ceiling common rooms with tatami mats on most floors. There are 2 and 3 levels to explore, and both have interior courtyards that bring in light through the sliding shoji screens. The Yoshijima House was owned by a wealthy sake brewing family, and the Kusakabe owned by a merchant family. Both are excellent examples of the Edo-style architecture. Now, Japan is really well known for its public transportation, especially the train and rail system. But sometimes when you come here, you just need to have your own vehicle. There's nothing like being able to drive in the country to get to those out of the way, off the beaten path places, which where we love to go. That way you avoid the crowds. And as Josephine just reminded me, as this gentleman passes me because I'm going too slow, it helps to have a passenger along with you to help navigate and get you around, and I can't do it without her. She's been a lifesaver. Now, we have driven about 50 minutes north of Takayama in a rental car, and it was an easy drive. Most of it is actually in the tunnels, so you can't get lost really, although we did make a wrong turn. But when we got out the other end, what you find is Shirakawa-go, and it's an amazing place. Shirakawa-go is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Once remote and difficult to access, it is now easy to reach by car or bus. The iconic image is of the Gassho-zukuri style roofs, said to resemble hands in prayer, but there is a more practical reason. They were designed to handle the incredibly large amounts of snowfall the area gets each year. Now, back in Takayama, you have the Hida Folk Village, which is an open-air outdoor museum featuring homes similar to what you see here in Shirakawa-go. The primary difference is that this is a living, breathing community. People live here, they work here, so when you're around it, you're going to see people changing tires on their car or working in the backyard and the garden, that sort of thing. But keep that in mind when you're here, because this is private property. You want to be respectful of their lifestyle, but at the same time, they want you to enjoy this incredible scenery, and it really is absolutely stunning. So come on up. You'll recall that when we arrived, we had the place nearly to ourselves. We were even able to talk with some of the locals. But if you wait too late in the day, you'll be greeted by this: hordes of tour buses disgorging tourists by the hundreds. So if you want to avoid the crowds, come early when the parking lots open around 8:30. After all, you would much rather see it looking like this. Since you enjoyed this video, look for the upcoming one on Sasayama, where we stay in an authentic 160-year-old Edo period farmhouse. In more than 30 years of travel in Japan, we have never experienced anything like it. In fact, it's so special, we're hesitant to make it public, but we're doing so for you. So make sure to watch, and until next time, sayonara!